All right.
Being able to articulate your thoughts is very important.
It's very
Take
important.
it seriously.
Being able to articulate your point or your voice is very important. And with that today, ladies and gentlemen, we have a special guest, Damian Veloz.
My brother,
Welcome.
thank you for having me. Jay, thank you for having me, my brother.
Of course, my brother.
Happy
Welcome
Wednesday.
to South Beach Strategy.
Proud to be here with y'all.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations on all the success. I see y'all killing it always. A
Amazing.
decade, 2 decades. I'm your fan. God bless y'all. I mind my business. If it doesn't generate peace or profit, I'm not interested, respectfully. I'm very intentional with my time at 43. I've learned to be very cautious with my effort because I go 1,000 or I'm not there. So not everyone deserves 1,000. You know what I mean? Not everyone deserves that energy. Not everyone deserves that commitment. So I've had to take myself away from the world and be very selective with my circle and be very intentional with my time. So I don't slide in DMs. I remember when I slid in your DMs over 10 years ago.
Whoa.
No homo. And I was
Pause.
like, yo, Jay, I need to borrow a Ferrari. I know it's a weird favor and you never met me before, but can you help me? My man pulled up in Wynwood with the Ferrari. I did what I had to do with a photo shoot with a
That's how you
model,
know
and we
he's
killed
real.
this. So, yo, much respect to you, my brother. I remember that.
There was another DM that you slid into that brought a lot of fruit. A friend of the show, Pursuit Reg. Tell us about that DM. How did that go?
So Pursuit Reg. So Reg was a referral from a really good friend of mine, South Beach Seb. Many blessings to you, my brother. And he connected us together, and we spoke to each other before he came down for a trip. He wanted to accomplish certain goals, and I said, yeah, let's make it happen. So the conversation was very clear. It wasn't a sales call. It was more like let's see if we vibe call. And if we vibe call, then let's make it happen. So the call was very organic, very authentic in terms of what he was trying to accomplish and what I can deliver, because I didn't want to overpromise and over leverage myself. So it was a great call. He ended up booking me for a few days. We created some brilliant content for his brother's birthday, and that's all she wrote. We've been connected and shooting ever since, you know. And I gained another brother. So much respect to you, my brother.
This is awesome. Actually, let's bring it back a little bit for our audience. Let them know, who is Damian Veloz?
So originally I grew up in New York City. One of 7, immigrant parents, lovely home environment in terms of my upbringing. But I grew up in the Bronx, so you know what comes with living in the Bronx: drugs, violence, alcohol, gangs. And I never got caught up in that. I focused very aggressively in getting a college education, developing a craft, and thank God and thanks to my parents, I was able to overcome a lot of challenges that a lot of people can relate to. So fast forward 2013, I moved here because the palm trees is too fire. I was like, oh, I'm out of here. And I was here for spring break 2013 in Monument Island, and a stranger loaned me a jet ski. And when I returned, he said, all right, man, it was nice meeting you. I'm going to work. And I was like, you work? He's like, yeah, I got to go to work. I was like, this is your lifestyle and you're working? It was like a Tuesday. I'm like, oh, I'm out of New York City. So that October, I moved here, and it's been a great 12-year journey, which I'm very happy about.
You know, I know Damian from New York originally. Should I tell that quick story?
Yeah, tell that quick story.
So I was managing a nightclub called Talle that was very successful uptown. And I used to, you know, have the most beautiful entourage, and we used to dress up nice, and I'm always in this club. And for 2 weeks straight, I'm in my table, and I'm hanging out. I have, you know, a lot of people hanging out. And I see Damian in the corner, just like with a big smile, with this fine-ass woman on his arm, and he's just like,
Yeah, I was
he's
chilling.
like
man.
smiling. And like I see him, and he gives me he's like, I'm like, hey, whatever, chilling there. Second week comes, same club. He's still there, dressed fresh. And I go to him, I'm like, yo, what's up, man? Nice to meet you. I like your fit. I'm Alex. I'm running this venue. This is my club. I want you to come to the table and have a drink. He's like, all right, cool. So we go to the table, and I make them 2 shots, and I'm like, here, man, take a drink. He's like, oh, I don't drink. Sorry, I don't drink. And I'm like, yeah, that's funny. Here, take a drink. I just invited you to my table. You're going to take a drink with me. Like, that's how it works. He's like, I don't drink, man. I'm like, listen, I don't know you.
I don't
But
drink.
you
I
can
was
take
like,
this
yo,
drink
I'm
if you
good.
come
I was
into
like,
my
thank you for the
table.
hospitality,
Yeah.
but I don't drink, bro.
So he was the only person I know that has never drank or smoked or did any drugs his whole life. So I give him that.
Wow.
And then from that interaction, we just became friends, and that was 20-something years ago. We've been best friends since.
That was like 2015. Oh, no, I'm
That
sorry.
was
like
2009.
Yeah, 2008.
2009.
So what do you do when you go out on the boat?
So when I'm on the boat, I just catch a vibe, enjoy the scenery, some fresh air. To touch on that subject really quick, though, I approached him and I gave him the recognition he earned. He had a great party, and it's a characteristic that most people lack, which is just showing love. Like I went up, he didn't know me.
But are you guys working or are you guys
No,
just
I didn't
hanging
know
out?
I was
him.
working.
I was
You
at
were
the
working.
club
He was
chilling.
just a guy
and I
at the
said, yo,
club.
your party is fire, bro. Thanks for putting this together. And then now, 20 years later, we still kicking it.
And this was in the Bronx.
This was in
This was
Uptown.
in the Heights.
Uptown.
Yeah, it was in the Heights.
Washington
He was
yeah.
he was
Talle nightclub.
He was the king of the streets back in the days. But I was chilling. I was just trying to have a good time. So when I go on the boat, I'm an organic, high on life kind of guy. I just chill, go for, meet people, help people, connect with people, and I just enjoy that chemistry. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just go with the flow.
And then actually bringing it back to Privilege Media, when I first started my media company 10 years ago, my first client was HBO Latino, and I had 2 events going on at the same time, one in La Marina, New York City, and one in Miami. The only person I knew at the time was Damian. I knew he had the camera, and I'm like, listen, we got our first client. I need you to go to this spot and hold it down. But we never worked together like that, and I know I'm very articulate and like specific to the detail when I work. So I'm like, listen, you got to get this shot, you got to get this, and you can't fuck up though. Everything got to be all right.
It was Juanes.
And he
Juanes
went over
and
there,
HBO was a
he
huge-
killed it. And that was my
it was a huge
first
deal.
editing project for a corporate brand. Like I had mom and pop shops and here and there, but this is the first big paycheck that we had, and I had to rely on someone else to shoot it, and it was Damien, and he killed it.
Well, you guys skipped the part where you guys met at a club, and then, but how did you find out about the camera? Where did this come
Well,
from?
we were friends already. That was like 4 years, and then he moved to Miami, so we're still in touch. I'm in New York, he's in Miami. He was always a photographer, but he didn't get into video that much. But he had all the equipment, and that's when we first got into video. That was the first project.
That's what really transitioned me into video. Was I love photos. My mom was obsessed with having photos growing up. You walked into her apartment, there was photos all over. There was no walls. It was just photos. So God bless, Mom. Thank you for helping me channel that energy and just capturing beautiful moments and being able to go back 10, 20 years later and look at an image and feel that same energy. So my mom got me into photography. I've been doing photos. My first wedding, I was 12. I have a picture I have to post. I have a black suit. I took it very seriously because that's all I do is make sure that I give 110% everywhere I go. And Alex and I collaborated on the HBO project, and that's what opened up video, where I started investing into the craft and to the equipment and really sharpening my skills, in which that was like 10 years ago.
That was
It was like 10 years ago.
14
so now,
years ago.
Not that I know everything. I still have a lot to learn, but I've come a long way. And thanks to Alex for always pushing me and inspiring me to be better and pushing me to really reach the next level, which I usually don't need that much motivation, but there's certain things you don't like, and that's where the growth happens, when you can really hone in on the stuff that you don't like. So this year was my biggest editing year improvement, thanks to Alex. And photo and video has been a passion of mine, and not only a business that becomes very profitable, but it's really taken over the world, because MTV just shut their doors. That's less competition for us. And it's more evidence that organic material is surpassing the viewership than corporate huge companies.
And the realness
So
and
we
the
go-
experience that goes behind it, like we talked
Correct.
about.
So those real stories are going to continue to become more and more popular, and I'm excited to go into this world and close the year stronger than ever and start next year stronger than ever.
And I think that's one of your strategies, not strategies, but highlights as a character, Jay. You know how to pull out information from people in a certain way, which is why we started the podcast, correct?
Yeah. And listening to this and your story, well, I want to know, because we asked this to everybody, what is more important to you? What do you think is more important to your success? The skills or the relationships?
So the genuine interest in the well-being of others is so important, because no one's going to know about your skill if they never give you the opportunity. But if I help him win, or I help you win, or I help a stranger, who knows who that stranger knows? And so many doors have opened up for me by me just wanting to help someone. Not for anything in return. I trust the process. Like everyone says, oh, trust the process, but they don't trust the process. Because if you truly trusted the process, you would do the work and forget about what the result was going to be. I could care less. I'm rich already. I woke up. I'm healthy. My mom is healthy. I'm good.
Amen.
If I can help another brother shine or another sister shine, hey, more power to them. It'll always come back. And I trust that wholeheartedly. So the skill is very, very important, but the relationship and the genuine interest for the well-being of others is far more important, because you're going to connect with a human. AI can't replace that ever. AI could never make eye contact with someone and make someone feel loved and appreciated and respected, whether it's business, personal, brotherhood.
Well, these robots are getting better.
the robots are very good, and they almost fooled us. But and I was like, oh, hell no. But the truth is, I think that we just got to be dope in real life, bro. Just be dope in real life.
Yeah.
And let that be what takes you to the next level.
That robot ain't showing up to your front door to check on you and make
Never.
sure you're good. You know, you may
Never.
have it on the gram, may convince you there, but it ain't gonna knock on your door and say, "Hey, buddy,
Yeah,
you good?
yeah, yeah.
You know, what can I do to help you out today? You know, come
Absolutely.
through, let's do something."
Yeah,
You know,
Reg mentioned mental health before too. That's a big topic nobody talks about. No one talks about when you're super stressed. No one talks about how you might have something wrong and you can't be your 100% self because you feel a certain type of way.
Yeah, for sure. Listen, AI will never pull up to your crib like I've pulled up to your crib many times. Yo, let's go grab breakfast. You know, let's
Break
go for
the
a walk at
routine,
Whole Foods
yeah.
and go eat some pizza and just kick it and just free up that creative energy in your mind, because as a creative, you get exhausted physically, mentally, emotionally. It's a lot going on. Plus, life is happening. So AI will never interfere with that. I mean, we just have to use it as a tool. So.
well, when you talk about caring, I know it's authentic because Reg told us a story about an event that you guys went to work at, and you helped people that were there that were nothing to even do with you.
So the girls thought I was trying to kick it to him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, listen, girl, I ain't trying to
You?
kick it to none of y'all.
Come on.
I don't slide in DMs.
I don't
I
believe
got
that.
a 24-year-old daughter that I'm trying to raise. Like, I ain't
would
got time
never
for
do
y'all.
that. You would
It's
never
just
do
not my
that.
style. I
That's
got
not
three
your style.
sisters. I got 3 sisters. But they were so intimidated by my effort to try to help them that they were like, what does he want?
Yeah.
Honestly, all I wanted was to create dope content with dope people that flew from all over the world to invest in their mind, invest in their business. And I was there for Reg to make sure that we could highlight his purpose and his passion and his direction. But along the way, because I'm a beast and I love work and I'm a action junkie, I was like, oh, I could get some magic here. Let me get that. Oh, let me get some
Yeah.
magic here. Let me get some magic there. let me
Being
get some magic
yourself.
there. So I literally, with all due respect to everyone that was there, I outworked every team, and I admire them and I respect them. And I say this to them, and I've said this to them. Don't be afraid to go the extra step, whether you're getting paid or not. Because you could spend $2,000 on marketing, or you could be the baddest motherfucker in the room, excuse my language, and you ain't got to spend the $2,000 in marketing. You literally just showed up.
That
And
highlights.
I walked the walk that people talk. Like,
That's-
I did it in real life.
That's one of my greatest quotes that I tell everybody. That I tell them straight up, it's not a small world, it's big people. Someone might say, oh, you know, Reg, oh, such a small world. It's not a small world, it's big people. If you're a man of your word, if you do what you say, if your character is amazing, you're positive, you're helping everyone, they're
That's
always
it.
going to vouch for you, and you're
Always.
going to be at top line
Always.
because you're genuine and
Yeah.
it's you.
Always.
So it's not a small world, it's big people.
Yeah.
Well, you know, 99% of your competitors that were there probably don't feel like they want to work for free, and that's really what it is, where they don't want to put that extra effort because they're not going to get paid for it. So why do something that you're not going to see an immediate reward for? What did
So-
you learn from that experience?
So what I learned and what I encourage a lot of professionals is to get out of the math part. You know, professional athletes don't make the big bucks until they get their ass beat in college and high school and elementary school. Every successful person in this world went through some really tough situations that they didn't get paid for. So what makes us any better or any different? You're already there. You're blessed to be in a room with awesome people. There are opportunities to create. And what I would say to people is just get out of the math part. You're already there. What does it cost you to go an extra step? Which you're going to learn more. You're going to connect with better people. And you know what? The truth is, I was practicing. I was in the gym getting big. I wasn't working on these muscles. I was working on these. And I was practicing with females and different mindsets and different cultures. There was a young
directing.
lady from Dubai. There was Reg from Texas. There was Afnan, Jasmine, great leaders, great speakers, very successful women that actually hired me to go on a private jet to the Bahamas with them to film some vlog content, which maybe wouldn't have happened had I been only worried about Reg. And I didn't let Reg down at all. I over-delivered what Reg needed, and I delivered to every single person that was there just out of strength of what I believe in. And that's why I wore the shirt. All in, always. When I walked into Zara, because Reg was coming into town, and I usually wear the same 4 outfits. I ain't ashamed to say it. I don't care. I ain't got time for all that. I just wear the same Veloz Media Agency gear, and I'm out. I said, damn, Reg is coming into town. I said, shit, let me go to Zara. And I walked into Zara, and I saw this shirt, all in, always. And I was like, that's me all the way, because I'm all or nothing. And we have to normalize that effort. And there isn't always a shortcut. You know, the hard way is the shortcut. Like, just put in the work, stop wasting time, stop looking for other angles, and just be very intentional with what you want to accomplish.
Well, that's what makes you different.
One of one. Thank you for that compliment, Reg. It comes from going to sleep hungry. You know, in college I struggled because I was a dad at 18. I went to school in Catskill, New York, and the money wasn't there. My parents couldn't help me financially. They helped me emotionally, and they were great parents. But you know, we struggled financially, and I remember going to sleep hungry a lot in college, and I had Rice Krispies treats for a month straight because I was broke like a joke. But you know what? It's all good because that reminded me to always stay hungry. And no matter what I generate, whether it be a good week or a bad week, I treat every week the same. And I just focus on the finish line. And sometimes the payday is healthy, and sometimes the payday didn't show up. But it's all good because I charge it to the game. I didn't get paid, but I learned. I didn't get paid, but I got bigger. I didn't
No
get paid,
such
but I
things
got
as
stronger.
losses. Only
There's no
only
losses,
lessons.
just Yep. There's no losses, all lessons. And that's what lacks the world. Like, people are afraid to say, damn, I got beat up. It's okay, you got beat up. Well, you lost some money, okay, that's part of the process. So becoming very comfortable with who you are, what you want to accomplish, what the journey's gonna look like. You got to be comfortable with that. We're not in full control. You just show up, you do
And
your
like
best.
Reg said, you have to enjoy that journey. And like I said, the people with you that are on it as well too.
Correct.
The Catskills is fire. I like
Catskills is dope.
I love
Great
the
mountains.
Catskills.
Back in them days, I was single, and them white girls were showing me a lot of good things.
Yeah,
a lot of
Catskills
countrysides.
fire. Yeah, I like it.
Catskills, yeah, it was
I've been
beautiful.
like twice, 2-3 times.
Based on my knowledge, I know you started in photography, right? So you must have worked with a lot of beautiful Miami models, which I know of, but I'm not going to say it. We want to hear a juicy story about Miami, working with models. Just keep it on the real. Tell us the good stuff.
In photography and videography, you see the behind the scenes of what's happening. You know, in weddings, you hear who was in love and who wasn't. In modeling, you know who's dealing with who. So
Who's getting taken down?
who's getting taken down, who's cheating on who. And you know what? God bless those folks. They were doing their thing. They hired me to execute a job, and I did. And it was an exciting time in my life, but at the same time, it wasn't my lane because my brand is authenticity. I love to create work that complements the brand and complements the lifestyle. So if you're not dope in real life, you can't Photoshop being dope. You can't Photoshop energy.
A lot of people expect that.
And they expect for us to be magicians, and I'm like, I'm not God. Like, if you're not dope, I could shoot something that looks fire, but you're not gonna look what you want to look because you're not that. So, I had some good times. You know, a lot of great young women that we were able to create some beautiful work with.
That's going hard in the paint.
That's not juicy.
That's going hard in the paint, dog.
You know, if my daughter wasn't 24, I could go harder in the paint, but you know, my daughter's gonna watch this. I don't want her to remember that. You know what I'm saying?
But when you have to tell somebody, yo, you just ain't that dope, dog. How does that go?
He wouldn't say that.
Nah,
So-
Dovelos will make it happen, right?
So I've had coffee dates with bride and grooms where they have a certain expectation that they want to execute for their wedding, and it doesn't have to be a wedding; it could be a client. I have, you know, it's a tradition of mine. Let's meet for coffee, and during this conversation, I fully understand what they're trying to execute. I fully understand what I can deliver, and then sometimes I tell them, well, that's not going to happen, because in order for that to happen, in real life, not AI, not an imagination, is we have to be that. So there's been times where I tell people, you know, I can't do that for you, and walk away, even if there is a paycheck, because I'm not gonna put myself in a position to lose or look bad or tarnish my brand, in which I've worked very hard for.
I'm sorry.
Damian, I'm sorry, just because in reference to this, because it's taking the time to be prepared. That's pretty dope because a lot of people don't do that. I can't say I've met a lot of guys that'll be like, hey, let's meet up for coffee and talk about something we're going to do in the future and be prepared like that. Walk into a situation where you're ready. And then just drop truth bombs on what you're going to deliver.
So the due diligence is the lack of due diligence will get us into trouble, and I'll tell you why. A lot of times we say, oh, how much is your budget? The budget is 10 racks, fine. And in your line of work, someone's budget doesn't necessarily mean that you can accomplish the impossible. If the weather's trash, there's laws, there's regulations, and people think that money can buy anything. And in some places, maybe, but in certain circumstances, like the outcome of a video or a rental or an experience, there's other layers to that. So you have to be very knowledgeable of your craft, and you have to be very secure as a business owner to say, hey, that is not going to happen. I thank you for the opportunity, and I understand you have the funds to make whatever you think happen, but that's not how this works. And if you don't do that, then you have a nightmare client or a nightmare project, and you're only setting yourself up for failure, and that referral is going to be terrible. And my business is referral based.
And transparency.
Very transparent, very referral based, and I'm blessed with the opportunity to pick and choose who I work with, because not everyone can create dope content just because they have money. Like, yeah, you got some money. That don't mean you smart. Doesn't mean you're capable. Doesn't mean
Or
you
tasteful.
have the value. It doesn't mean you got style. Like, what does that mean?
Talking about that, right? Value. What do we talk about on the podcast all the time, Jay? What's the nitty gritty, right? The hustle. Talking about hustle. This guy right here hustles. Not only does he have Veloz Media, he's a partner in Privilege Media. You also have Veloz Handyman Services. He's the director on the beach for the Boucher brothers previously, that has over a relationship of maybe 30 hotel vendors and other businesses.
150
Like,
actually.
this guy has never missed a day of work ever, and he's a workaholic sometimes. He's with me with his camera, and I'm like, I want to hang out. I don't want to shoot. You need to just chill. So talk about hustle. Damian got some hustle.
So this year was my first year of full-time entrepreneur. Before that, I still hustled and gave my all to Veloz Media Agency, which I was prior Solomeo Films, which we only focused on events and weddings. I transitioned to Veloz Media Agency.
So that was our business. We shot high-end weddings and destination elopements, all super high-end stuff.
Yeah. So when I transitioned to Veloz Media Agency was to be able to serve a bigger audience and not focus only on weddings. Along with Veloz Handyman Service and Veloz Renovations, which I own and operate with my brother, we grew up in a family of superintendents in New York City. Grandpa was a super. My daughter's grandfather was a super, and I grew up in that world of working with my hands. And before I made media my profession, I was actually an automotive technician starting off. And when I moved here, I got into construction heavily.
He was with Nissan for like 10 years, right?
Yeah, Nissan and Toyota in Manhattan in New York City. That was my 9 to 5. I always had a 9 to 5 because the 9 to 5 was how I was able to invest and build Veloz Media Agency, Solomeo Films, Privilege Media, because the capital has to come from somewhere. I ain't scamming. I'm earning this. Like, this is mine. The gear is mine. And without that gear, we can't get to the next level. So for 5 years, I was the director of facilities, quality control, and logistics in Miami Beach. It was a tremendous challenge because the beach is operating 7 days a week, sun up to sundown, and I was in charge of 150 properties, and I was involved in every logistical situation, every maintenance situation. We worked with the city of Miami Beach, the CEOs of all the large hotels, and I was running from South Beach to Tampa. While shooting a wedding on the weekend, while editing with Alex, while raising a daughter,
Putting up my TV.
while showing up to edit, and then, hey, can you put this TV up for me? Or, visiting another friend, hey, you need help? Because I'm always willing to help, and I'm always proud and privileged to be someone that people can call on to help them. And I love that, because that's what life's about. That's what family is about. That's what brotherhood is about.
Exactly.
So fast forward 5 great years, I was the best facility director that beach will ever see, because no one was obsessed with being the greatest more than me. I am obsessed, proudly obsessed, of being the greatest of whatever I'm doing.
Oh.
Not better than anybody. The greatest for me, for my legacy. For when people say, oh, Damian, yeah, no one's ever going to outwork him. They won't. Because I'm going to go to work, and I'm going to show up, and I'm not going to worry about the money. And I focus on my craft, and I practice my craft. And during a hurricane, I would be removing all the stuff you see on the beach with a huge loader. And I could be up all night. And if we had a wedding, just so happens and it was in the schedule, I would be picking up Alex so we could go kill a wedding for 10 hours. And then the next morning, I would be back on the beach doing whatever I had to do while on the phone.
Beast mode.
He knows this. This is no cap. And I've never called out a day in my life of work, but it's that, but it's a little more. I've just always shown up for the sake of making my mom proud, my daughter proud, setting an example, being inspired by leaders, being inspired by great men in my circle, which is so important, to surround yourself with men and women that encourage you, that appreciate you, because it's like putting a battery on your back, because it almost gives you like that extra boost. So I appreciate y'all for the compliments.
So you leave the 9 to 5 to be a full-time entrepreneur, and for a lot of people that's very scary. So can you share your emotions when you made that leap?
So the
What
lead,
advice would you give to somebody who might be in the situation where they work in a 9 to 5, but they want to chase their dreams?
I think the 9 to 5 is very important. I think the process is very important. You learn a lot along the way, along with having that financial security. And the finances in the beginning of entrepreneurship are not there. And the stress is going to be enormous. So most entrepreneurs fail their first year because they didn't have the capital to back up their dream. But if you can have the discipline and energy to focus on the 9 to 5 and appreciate that 9 to 5 and treat it like your own and generate some revenue, generate some relationships, generate the experience, then you're better prepared for the entrepreneurship, because the entrepreneurship is 10 times harder than whatever you thought you hated about your 9 to 5.
And that's what you call perfect strategy for South Beach strategies. Seriously.
You heard it here first. So I think that the most important part is to appreciate the people around you, be able to learn from the people around you, put the ego away, put the expectations away, and just do the work. Save some money, say no here and there, because saying no is probably one of the most underrated characteristics that we need to learn as men. Is saying no. We're going to lay low by, because you got to be up in the morning. You got to charge your batteries. You got to recharge your mind.
You don't want to take that client because it doesn't match your brand.
So it's very important to say no, and I think that any future entrepreneur that wants to be a business owner, go for it. But prepare, do the work, understand it's not going to be easy. It's much more difficult than, at least the 9 to 5, you clock out, you go home. When you own a business, there is no I'm clocking out, I'm going home. You answering the phone, and you know this. Your phone probably rings just as much as mine used to ring, because you're running a 7-day operation, sun up to sundown, people from all over the world, and you're the greatest at what you do. And they know that, oh, you want great service, you got to call Jay. So now you have to live up to that expectation, which you earned. You didn't buy it. AI didn't create it. Your reputation and your results have created it. So you can relate. All of us can relate in this room, because the only way you earn that reputation is through the work you put in.
You got to be credible, not look credible.
Like,
Yeah.
like my brother Reg said. You
And
can't buy
Jay says it all the
you can't
time.
buy credibility.
No shortcuts.
Yeah, no shortcuts.
We got to do the hard work. You got to do the hard work.
You got to put in.
How about you give us some words of wisdom, Jay? Like, we had some great interviews today. From absorbing all of that, what would you kind of package and give to our audience?
Well, I think from both interviews, we can see that the credibility part has to be there. You know what I mean? You have to be credible, and I think things will take care of themselves afterwards. And I learned that from you when I saw you and I met you, and we met that time when you did the shoot, and you did everything that you said you were going to do. And you can ask Alex. I don't do that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't even know how I did it for
Yeah.
you. You
It's
know
the
what I mean?
approach,
But
I
there was a
think. It was
reason.
the approach.
And I didn't meet you through Alex or anything.
No,
I knew
no,
you
no, I was
on
ready.
my own, and we did this because I saw you were serious. And then you did exactly what you said you were gonna do. So the doors were always open for you to come back. And I think even your client or your model, she continued to do work with, like, we had I think you worked with Angelina too,
Yeah,
right?
Angelina 305.
So like
out
we
to
had people that we knew in common and the reputation. So, and then when I found out that you had the 9 to 5, because I was surprised to learn that you had one, you know, that to me struck me like even more credible. Like, this guy puts in the work.
Yeah, he's hustling.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
He puts in the work. He's not just doing this little thing here on the side. No, he's got a 9 to 5 at a great company, which is why I asked the question about how, you know, give some advice to people, because there's people out there that got good jobs and they could be, but they're scared.
They're scared.
And what I got from your advice was, you know what, if you serious about the 9 to 5 and you're serious about your your goals, you don't have to be scared, because your business is gonna take over.
So thank you for saying that, because the test to know if you're ready to be an entrepreneur is if you're in the top of your game in your 9 to 5. If you're not at the top of your game in the 9 to 5, if you're not the brightest star in that room, then you're not going to survive in the street. Entrepreneurship is going to eat you up and spit you out.
Another beast.
So ask yourself that question. Be honest with yourself, because no one's going to save you as an entrepreneur. Ask yourself if you're the biggest in the room. And I'm not saying better. I'm not saying we're better than somebody.
On
We're
point.
saying we're outperforming, our results outperforming our colleagues, respectfully. Let's just keep it real, because the results are the results. If you feel confidently and honestly that you are at the top of your game, then go for it. And if you're not, that's okay too. Put in the work in your 9 to 5 for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, until you know that you're ready, so that 6 months later you're not calling your best friends to borrow some money to pay your rent.
Yeah, I know, and I know that when you had this conversation with your bosses there, how did that go?
So I think they knew that I outgrew my position, because from day one when they hired me and I allowed myself to be engulfed by the beach because it's a monster that never sleeps.
Oh, yeah.
And there's always, you got Art Basel, you got Wine and Food
The
Festival, the schedule, hurricanes,
The
staff.
calls. This guy would be on his phone every hour.
Bro, my
Stressful.
anxiety was insane. I think they knew I was ready for what I was building my whole life, which is Veloz Media Agency and Veloz Renovations. But I enjoyed, and I'm very grateful for that journey and those chapters because they did teach me a lot. It was like endurance training. I made some bucks, and I built a lot of relationships in Miami because I was there for 5 years. So when I took on that role, I was 7 years in with a great company. Thanks to those folks for always trusting me to be the greatest that they've ever seen on the beach. And it all works. It's all part of the recipe. Like the struggle is part of the recipe. Like we have to be okay with the tough stuff. I could tell you right now that I spent dozens of nights in a loader moving boxes before a hurricane and then I drove to Clearwater, the JW Marriott in Clearwater, to move a box that was going to be swept away by a hurricane and then be back here in the morning and taking a nap in some rest area. And you know what? Entrepreneurship is harder than that. Because at least I know on Friday that direct deposit was going to be there and my mortgage is good, my car note is good, and I knew that the money was guaranteed. I could shoot a project and the client didn't have the budget or they
stiff you over and never
stiff me,
pay.
which that
A million
happens.
things can happen.
A million things can happen. A million things can happen. So what I'm saying with all of that is be okay with the 9 to 5 because not everyone is built for entrepreneurship, and that's okay too. Capability is important.
All right. We got to come. All right. You ready?
Let's go to do some rapid fire.
Rapid fire. Have you ever been to BT's on the river?
Yes. Yes. Such a great establishment. I like to tease a little more, but I haven't been to a gentleman's club in like 5-6 years.
What about you, Jay? Which one do you prefer?
So did you go or no?
Yeah, I've been there, but honestly, I'd rather go to South Beach. I'd rather go to Wynwood and see, all that magic. You know what I'm saying? I enjoy
How about
it
you?
more.
You like booby trap on the river, Jay?
It's not really my vibe, I like it though. I've gone.
I'd rather go to
It's
Kiki's.
Yeah, I'd rather go to Kiki's though.
Yeah.
100%.
But
Jay?
I like the dinner. I like the early dinner party. That it turns into like a party. You can be
Yeah.
home by 12. Like,
Yeah, I love it.
we had some clients that we went on Sunday to Kiki's, but we were going by 12.
So no massages, shoulder rubs upstairs in the champagne room?
Nah, I do those in real life.
Okay.
We
I've
got
seen
options.
him out.
We
And
got
he's always
No,
composed.
he's legit. Damian's legit. He's like the opposite of me.
I'm the exact opposite.
I'm the wild, crazy one, and he's like the one that's gonna wake up in the morning. and
How
be
about
on
this?
time.
How's having a relationship and being in South Beach? How does that go for you? What any advice on that?
So, I'm single. I've been single all year. I've been married twice. My first wife, God bless her. My second wife, tremendous person, in which has helped me grow and helped me evolve as a man, as a person. So I'm very grateful for her, although we didn't work out. What I would say in the dating scene, which is very dynamic because you have such extreme cultures here, is if you're young, just have fun. There's nothing wrong with having fun. Be safe, be respectful, wear protection, do your thing, be honest, be upfront. Listen, I just want to fool around. But when you get older in life, and you and I are very close in age, I think being very intentional with the decisions we make and calling it right out the gate, this is what it is very important because we don't have time to waste. We're in our mid-40s, you know what I mean? And I think that there are a lot of good people out there, male and female, they're just lost in this crazy world of Miami and that so many people get eaten alive from. So I just surround myself with the right people and trust that those people will bring the right people in my circle and nature will take its course.
I feel like those 14 years that you had of marriage was a cornerstone for you. And we talked about that with Reg's interview too, about marriage is important to build off of. And I feel like that had a huge impact on you to where you are today. Even though it didn't last, you're not together now.
Every chapter in life, whether it be my first marriage, my second marriage, my daughter, my brotherhoods, it's important to be in situations that help you grow and evolve. Now our life starts meaning more. It's not about the car or the boat or the cameras or
peace and
the
profit,
jewelry.
baby.
Peace and profit, and really understanding that we're not going to be here forever. And we don't want to be that guy that never made it where he wanted to go because he got distracted by the nonsense that doesn't pay the bills. So I think that having an incredible determination and discipline really unlock the next layer and chapters of our lives.
Facts.
And how important is your relationship to privileged media to where you are today?
So Privileged Media, that's family, that's home team, that's my partner, that's Alex, that's my brother. I love him. I admire him. I respect him. I always have his back 1,000,000%, which You know, like I always say, AI is never gonna be a brother or a sister. And I've had an incredible commitment to privileged media since day one. Before privileged media was privileged getaways, privileged entertainment back in the heights
Privileged
when he was
marketing
killing
group,
the streets.
yeah.
Privileged marketing group was crazy, but really I'm a fan of great people doing great things, and I'm gonna continue to be a fan to my circle, my brotherhood, to see them win, all with the glory of God for giving me the health and opportunity. But really, this room is a perfect example of that because Reg, although I haven't known him too long, I feel like I've known him forever, and what we've been able to execute in a few months is a lifetime of achievements. And when I'll simplify that, there's people that I've known my whole life that I appreciate and respect that I haven't been able to accomplish what we've accomplished in a short amount of time. Because sometimes guys let ego get in the way, and girls too. Like, it's just too much noise. Like, listen, let's put all that away. Let's just get to work. Let's just get to work.
How can we win?
Let's win.
Let's
How,
win.
What do we have to do to generate revenue? What do we have to do to learn from one another, to shorten each other's learning curve so that we can get to the finish line sooner?
And amplify each other, yes.
That's what it's about, bro. But
All
a
we
lot
do
of
is
us,
win, right, Jay?
We struggle with that. We struggle with
Listen
that.
to Damian because he practices what he preaches. When he talks about ego, I know he knows how to check that at the door and work and put the eyes on the prize. And that's why every project that I see you're involved with, especially when I saw what you're doing with Reg, I was like, yo, this is dope, you know?
Thank you.
Because you're not focused on yourself, you're focused on the goal.
That's
You
right.
know, and I think when you do that and you're able to put it down, and I've learned that from people that I've came up with along the way, because I was probably someone who had a lot of ego, but I learned from people who were on top of me, you know, who have left their egos at the door to accomplish a goal, and I've watched them do things, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm gonna do it. You know, if they're doing it, I'm gonna do it. You know, I think that's a
applaud
big
you.
key to winning
Yeah.
for the team. You know, for a
Yeah.
team to work, can't be ego. You know, it has
You
to
can't
be
have
like
no
the
ego.
same. Everybody's got to be focused on the same goal.
Big facts. So
Well, we can't become champions without the team. In most professional sports, the champion, no matter how high your skill set is, you don't get the championship until the team wins.
Yes.
And Reg and I were having this conversation on how important it is to have a team. You could be the best slugger, you could hit 1,000,000 home runs, you still don't got a championship.
it's true.
You
So-
can have the best slam dunk rating, but you know, so teamwork makes the dream work.
Well,
That's a real
the
phrase.
Patriots dominated on that, right? There was like
team.
there was no ego there
no
when they had
ego.
that run. That dynasty
Yep.
run was built on
Everybody came to
guys
work.
you didn't even know who they
Everybody
were.
came to work. Yeah.
So where can our followers find you, Damian?
So my Instagram is dvelos1 or Velos Media Agency or velosmediaagency.com or on Green Street on Saturdays and Sundays because I don't have time to have a social life. So if you ever want to see me, you'll see me there on the weekend just hanging out and showing love to everyone who's available to hang out.
Or on the water?
Or on the water. We have Halloween boat ride on the 25th, Hollover Sandbar, Elliott Key out. You know,
That's with the company you work with, Marine.
Shout out to Atlantic Marine for keeping my sled healthy. Alfonso, you the man. I appreciate you. I went to Bimini under some terrible conditions this summer, which I shouldn't have. Thank God I'm alive.
It was a fleet of boats,
It
right?
was 52 boats. We shot a wedding there, and the boating community, as you know, is a brotherhood, and it's a great networking tool. But networking is a tool only if you're authentic. If you're trying to network with the intention of only
Sales?
make a sale, then people are gonna read right through you, and it's worse. You might as well just not show up or just shut up.
Yeah.
Like, networking requires you to be who you say you are, because now you're in the room with people who are gonna verify that.
I think it comes back to what we said before, which people don't talk about. It's those people that actually believe in you or have a moderation or respect for you that want to do business with you. I don't go and pick a business or close to where because I think it's okay. I want to feel the story, you know, or know the behind it.
Correct. And we're going to do a better job of that. Alex and I are going to focus strategically to end this year and start next year. We want to get on YouTube more. We want to maybe get on Netflix, and sky's the limit. It's really up to us to get it there. So
I
thank you for the
tell
support.
them all the time. I'm like, yo, you guys have great content.
Yeah.
This should be out more. You have so
we're
much
pushing,
dope
yeah,
stuff.
totally.
You guys have a lot of dope stuff.
Yeah, we're pushing.
You got to put it out more. I'm always on Alex about that. I'm like, yo,
No,
we got a
it's
lot of dope
It's true.
stuff.
One
You
thing
gotta put it out there.
that Jay said that's fucking so impactful. He said, if you're gonna be in media, you got to be the king of media.
And we've spent our entire career making everyone look great, and we left ourselves behind. So now it's time for us.
I wouldn't
to
say that.
elevate.
I just say the competition has gotten beefier. That's all.
I mean, no, but you guys have fire competition. The content
not-
you guys are putting out is good.
I'm an
you know?
energy god. I have no competition. Nobody can see me.
Yeah.
Nobody can see me because
Brr,
when
brr,
I show up for real,
Yeah.
and nobody does that.
You guys have something that's authentic, and it
Yeah,
separates from the rest. And
Yeah.
what like Alex is saying, like I was just like, build on that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You got some
Access.
dope stuff.
Facts.
Keep
Yeah.
going. Don't
Yeah,
stop.
yeah.
Put the pedal to the metal,
Yeah.
and just go all out. Don't hold. You're
Don't
holding
hold
back.
back.
Yeah.
Let it all out,
Yeah,
and
you're right.
everything will come to you. You don't get paid, like you said. The athlete gets beat up in school, high school, college, and then he gets rewarded.
15, 20
He's
years
not
later.
born and they say, here's $100 million contract,
Yeah.
live your life, and then let us know when you get to the pros.
It's true.
No.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
you gotta take the beating and the beating and the beating and the beating, and then you'll get the reward.
Yeah, 100%.
Because no one's, I mean, have you had a contract where someone walked up to you and said, okay, here, Veloz Media, here's $100 million, shoot all this content for me? Has that happened?
Not yet. Not yet. We're
Yeah,
working
not
on it
yet.
though.
Yeah,
But that's the
we
goal.
You're working on it.
That's the goal.
That's right. You're
And
laying down the
the
foundation
foundation.
for that.
Correct.
And when it
100%.
comes,
Correct.
it's gonna come because you did all those
Correct.
things.
Correct.
Because the day that you did something for free, someone at an event for somebody, and you didn't know who they were,
They
they
always
could have been
remember you.
somebody. And they're gonna look back and they go, "Yo, that guy was
Yo,
dope. Let me hit him up and take him on my private jet to
Exactly.
the Bahamas."
That's
You know what I'm
exactly
saying?
how it happened.
That's exactly how it happened. It wouldn't
exactly
have
how
happened
it
if you
wouldn't
wouldn't have done that. If you wouldn't have put in the work, it wouldn't have happened. You know what I mean? So I think all that has to do with laying down that foundation and putting the the pedal to the metal. Alex is doing it every day. You know, we talk daily on about the show and about our guests, and he's prepared and he's doing a great job. And this guy's the first one in the door when I walk in, and he's the last one out.
love
You
it.
know,
I love it.
so
It's working.
you got to practice what you preach if you want people to respect it. You got to be authentic. You can't just act authentic.
Sure. Like Reg said.
Yeah, like Reg said. All right, thank you, man. That was a great,
Hell
great
yeah.
talk. What was our
Thank you,
boy?
my brother.
Thank
Appreciate
you, my brother.
Yo, my brother.
you.
Thank you.